Well, I thought we had drama earlier today. We have more drama on this Friday, the 5th of April. Well, here it is. Elon has dropped a Friday night bomb. On X today, he announced, he posted that Robotaxi will be unveiled on August 8 or 8/8. As Sawyer Merritt pointed out, this 8 is the kind of a lucky number in the Chinese culture. So don't know if that's why this date was picked, but that is the date. You can imagine correctly that Tesla is up strongly in the after hours. Last time I checked, it was up $6 and it's been climbing for the last half hour. Started up around 3 and then 4 and then 5. Now it's up over $6. We'll check that out before we end this little story. Okay, keep in mind that this announcement falls squarely within the legal requirements of the SEC for any CEO. I don't care who they are or any member of the board, any of the people who have the responsibility to put out such kinds of notices. But this is especially true for Elon Musk. The word unveil, because he said they're unveiling on August 8, August 8, could be carefully chosen. It could mean that we will see the new Robotaxi car. We'll have the design will be shown. Maybe it'll be a drawing, maybe it'll be the real car, maybe it'll be a prototype. I don't know, but maybe that's what we're talking about. We're unveiling the Robotaxi vehicle on 8/8. That could be what it means. It could be that we'll learn more about the program. Maybe we'll see pictures of this eventual car and also how the program is going to work. It doesn't necessarily mean, unveil does not say that on August 8th or August 9th, there's going to be cars out driving around without drivers, picking up fares. It doesn't, that's just not in the word unveil, but it could be. So we really don't know. So thus far, that's all we have. I suggested the other day, why not put out, in fact, there's been a number of suggestions around this, but my suggestion was, why don't you go ahead and put drivers in the seats of these cars, for takeover as necessary, but get your Robotaxi system going so that you have the app. You're testing the app, you're testing the systems, you're finding out how many cars you need in an area to make it work. Other people have suggested other approaches similar to that. Anyway, unveil could have nothing to do with the new car that's coming out in 2025, theoretically, and it could have everything to do with the existing cars that are in the fleet ready to go. So my first question, I guess it's kind of obvious. Does that mean that Elon Musk is currently driving a car right now that requires no interventions, or so few that it passes the better than human test and could do pretty much 100% of whatever it would need in order to drive somebody from point A to point B? In other words, do you make such a comment about unveiling this system that is SEC constrained unless you absolutely 100% know that you've got an FSD system that is going to do the job, period? Not, it might next week, not, I can see the trend, not, okay, if everything works out well. No, I believe that he has to be driving a vehicle right now that actually is giving him that kind of result. I could be wrong, okay? Because again, unveil is vague enough that it could just mean we're going to show you the car, the Robotaxi itself. Could be possible. And I think that would pass muster with the SEC. Personally, I would say, if I was the SEC and I really wanted to get persnickety about it, I think I would say, Elon, explain what you mean by unveil, because people are making bets on this on the market. So what exactly is unveil, or at least something more than what he said, because there's too many ways to interpret unveil. Okay, will there be, if it is in fact a car that's going to be able to go into business that day, in other words, he will get the fleet. If I've got my Model Y and I want to put it out and get some revenue, then all I have to do is go on the app and say, okay, my car's available, and then, you know, and put it outside the garage, I guess. I don't know if it can open the garage by itself or not. Anyway, and then the car is going to go off and go down the road and start picking up fares. If that's going to happen, is it going to be territory restricted? In other words, will there be geofences around this where the car can and can't go? Will there be limitations like that it can't go into the parking lot of Costco and drop you off, but rather it'll drop you off at the closest curb? Will there be limitations in terms of which states it can operate in, or countries it can operate in? I think right now, for sure, the European countries would be not a chance until it's approved by them very specifically. Now, maybe that's going to happen. Who knows? We'll see. There was some conversation about that earlier this morning. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but we know that the European Union is paying a lot of attention to how to make a decision with regard to this. So, will there be limitations in terms of states or countries? Does Tesla have permitting already? Maybe they've already taken this car and taken it to some of the states that have requirements and allowed the people in charge to drive it around for 20 or 40 or 60 or 80 hours or 100 hours or 3 weeks. They could already have permits in some of the states that require it. Is there already a deal with Uber or Lyft or both or somebody else, or with taxi cab companies or something else? We'll talk about that a little more in a minute, but maybe there's already a deal that's been put together on this. It also suggests a situation where, as of today, if they weren't already doing it, if they hadn't already got the point last week and the week before, the other OEMs around the world, the other car manufacturers around the world, are going to have to really get serious. Their boards are going to be meeting by phone, or by, the top brass are going to be taking a look at this and going, they're going to say just what I just said. Elon has to be driving a car that is fully operational on FSD. And if that's true, they are going to have they're going to need to license. I don't know what their choice is going to be. Next question, what does this mean for Optimus? If FSD is really ready to go, what are they seeing in the labs right now with regard to Optimus? Because this announcement is basically the second biggest possible catalyst that Tesla could do. I mean, maybe I could invent one. I could come up with something that would be even a bigger catalyst. I'm not sure what that would be, but it would be second. The biggest would be Optimus. In other words, if they came out tomorrow and they showed 50 different Optimi, I'm sorry, we made that decision on this channel months ago. We were kind of the lead on that. And then if it's Optimi, so if you had 50 of them, they're all out in the plant. Some of them are working in the sheet metal section, some are working in logistics, some are working in, putting small little, screwdrivers and things, and some are working in electronics. And they just showed all these Optimi working in all these different positions. And then they said, by the way, we'll start shipping in January. This is not a maybe. This is exactly when we're going to start shipping. We are already building them, and we're going to charge $60,000 a year to lease them. And that's my number, of course. That would be a bigger stimulant. That would be a bigger catalyst than this, but this is second, and it's huge. Remember what Cathie's number is: $2,000 a share on a company that right now, as of this minute, is trading somewhere around 171. Well, while the market is currently up today, it is only a hint of what will happen Monday. If Tesla's up 6 or 7, and we'll see, we'll look here. Well, let's go ahead and look right now. Tesla is up 635 right now in the after hours. I think that's just a hint of what's going to happen Monday. And then there'll be a time between Monday, the 8th, and the 24th, I think that's right. Yes, the 24th, when the earnings call takes place. Between now and then, if Elon doesn't have actual additional announcements in between, then there will be a lot of anticipation of what's going to be said at the earnings call, because it'll be the number one question. Is there any doubt about that? That now becomes question number one. Give us more details about what this means. So there'll be a run-up, I think. This is not investment advice, but I think there'll be a run-up between now and then. And then, of course, there could be other hints after that leading up to the August 8th. Now we have another earnings call, of course, in July around the 22nd, something like that. So there's another opportunity in July where there could be more people wondering what's going to be said at the earnings call. And then shortly after that, very shortly after that, 8/8, we get all whatever unveiling means. We know that we are supposed to get a complete version of FSD in May. Complete. I mean, that's kind of, it's not like Elon said, yes, in May we will have FSD complete and it'll be better than him. No, there's just kind of this aura around this, what's going to happen in May. A bunch of incremental improvements between now and May, and then in May, there would be this next version or this major download. Will this version in May make it obvious to the world that Robotaxi can happen? And now all we're doing is waiting till August 8th for whatever information needs to happen in order for that to happen. So now let's talk about Uber again. I've also had this little brainstorm that maybe the deal with Uber would be that the Uber drivers who already own Teslas or who buy Teslas could immediately switch their cars to autonomous as a beginning point. So therefore, anywhere Uber goes, any place in the country, any place in the world that is okay, any state or country where the car would be okay with this, then an Uber driver has the car already. They could just switch fares. In other words, Uber and Tesla would work something out with regard to the app and with regard to how Tesla gets paid for this, or maybe for a while, Tesla doesn't care about getting any money from it. All they want is data, 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 data. So I can imagine that kind of a deal would allow Tesla to immediately start testing what happens with this vehicle, and the Tesla drivers who own, the Uber drivers who own Teslas would be able to sit home and watch TV while their cars are out making money for them. And yes, they would lose a little bit of revenue, probably, if Tesla does feel the need to take something, but maybe they don't for a while. Maybe for the first couple of 3 months, they're like, no, it's all right. We just want the data. Anyway, I'd love to hear from you all. Please let me know on this dramatic Friday what you're thinking, what you think is going on. Do you have other ideas that I didn't include in here? Do you think my ideas are nuts, or do you think I kind of got it right? And where do you think the stock's going to go on Monday? How much are we going to bump? I'm saying if we're bumping $5.50, $6, $6.50, something like that in the after hours today already, I'm saying that we could be looking at one of those 10% days on Monday, and maybe more once there's more information. I wanted to get this out right away. I'm sure that Larry and I will talk about it tomorrow, even though we're going to mostly be talking about Cathie, but I'm sure we'll spend a minute on this development. And then I haven't decided whether there's going to be a separate Good News Friday tonight. Larry will not be joining me on Good News Friday if there is one, but there wasn't a tremendous amount of additional information with regard to the general market, with regard to, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, there's no pre-market on Fridays, so that's not reportable anyway. And there wasn't a lot more to tell. There was a consumer credit number that came out. I didn't notice it because of all of this stuff that's going on. So there may not be any more programming tonight, but there'll be plenty of programming tomorrow. Cern will be on in the afternoon. Larry and I will be on in the morning. And then, of course, we'll have the news on Saturday afternoon. And who knows, it may be the best Saturday afternoon news show I've ever done. We'll see what happens. Anyway, if you like the show, please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit notify for all that stuff that's coming up tomorrow. You also may want to hit, I'll put up the card for the show I did earlier today about the Reuters lie that continues to be talked about on X all day. So that's all I got for you right now. Exciting day. It's been great talking to you.